Hello out there. Welcome to our podcast today. This is Coach Eric Johnson, the brand.
This is Coach Aaron Thigpen, the source. EJ, I think we've got a timely subject. It usually happens this time of year. I get the phone calls, I get the questions, and I'm sure you do too. And it's probably a long title, so I have to figure out how to say it when we post it. But how to reconcile your high school program and the private instructors in your athlete's life. So in other words, you know, how do you get some kind of synergy going between your off-season high school program and the outside instructors that your athlete's working with?
Right.
For me, this is always an issue. It's kind of a year-round issue, but
Yeah.
really kind of always starts this time of year where I have athletes who are, going back to school. And, some programs have off-season programs that are very intense and very demanding, and others a little more lackadaisical. And for those who are involved in those programs that are very intense and want to monopolize a lot more of their time, it's hard for them to make the adjustments, make the arrangements with their outside instructors, i.e., people like me and you, and they
Right.
pop in the middle. And there's no easy answer other than, every athlete's situation is different because, each program is different. Some programs have no problem with your attendance, others do. I always try and at least empower the parents out front to say, when you're on off season, the schools have no demands on you.
Right.
Okay. Now, easy for me to say, I'm not playing for them. But there's no rule or code that I've come across that those practices are mandatory. Now, of course, politically, do you pay the price? And that's where the quandary is. Because you can, the reality of it is you can get, there can be reprisals for not participating fully in the school's activities. So what to do?
What to do?
And that's where planning comes into play.
Yeah.
For those of you whose programs are very demanding, you've got to find additional time to fit people like me and EJN, or other programs like Rob Bruno's and NorCal, or any of the other programs.
Right.
But you also have to make sure you're getting what you need from a development standpoint, because having a good attendance record with the high school program doesn't mean you're getting better.
Right.
And I tell the athletes all the time, a program is written for 40 athletes. It's not written. And it may be a good program, but is it the program for you? So these are the questions you have to ask. It's not just, okay, well, we're lifting and we're running. Okay. But how is that lifting and running directed towards you as an athlete and going to benefit you?
Right.
And is it going to allow you to acquire the athletic skill set you need to be better? So that's kind of my opening salvo on the subject. I'll let you get in here.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's something it's come up for us all every start of the fall with everything that we do. And I mean, basically it's year round now, unless the high school is playing, then we just don't see those athletes because they're playing their competition. It's pretty obvious. But during the off season, there always something going on where it's a conflict. Like, oh, I've got to go do this, or it hurts them. At the bottom line is this, Aaron. We're here to help athletes develop and get to the next level. That's our number one objective. And at least if I was a high school coach and I knew of people who believed in the same thing that I did, where we're trying to help these young people get where they need to be, and we know their programming outside of my programming is excellent, I would always have assistance. That's only going to help that player's um, understanding of their body, their IQ, what they can do, what they can't do. And I think it can work. There just needs to be better communication with those people who are in high school and us, people like us, to help the athlete. We're out there for the same goal. Most of the athletes that come to us want to play at the next level. They want to play college and professional sports. And why not communicate and try to help that person seek their dream? Why not? But I understand when people are closed-minded about it and say, no, you can't do that. They have to be here. We want them there too, but there's a way to help an athlete to get where they want to be. It's a lot stressful. I think it's more stressful for the athlete. The athlete's torn between two entities. That's no good. You and I realize that, and we get to the point where we just back off and just say, hey, go do that, because we don't need you to be stressed out when we're training you. And it seems like when they come and train with us and they're trying to do their high school thing, they're stressed out and not really engaged in the process that you and I are trying to teach. And they have split concentration levels. That's just not there when they train. That's why we say, hey, go do that. When you're kind of like done with that, please come back to us so we can kind of fix some things, because we're going to have to fix some things. And unfortunately, that athlete, we don't need our athletes to have, their concentration level different when they see us. They need to be fully engaged, Aaron, when they see us, when they visit us all the time in the shop. They need to be fully engaged in the process that we're teaching them. And if they're not, then we don't get the gains that we want. Simple,
No, you're correct. I mean, I try and, split the baby in the sense that I'll always say, okay, well, tell me what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I try and, see where I can be inserted into that so that, there's some complementary things going on. And sometimes there is, I can create that synergy, I can make both things work. Other
Right.
times, the reality is you've got to pick one or the other, because I may not be in agreement with what a program is doing and what an athlete needs, and it's going to be contrary to the work that I'm trying to get done with the athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And so I might just say, hey, look, you know what, you have a hard decision to make.
Right.
My feeling is this: a coach should never be mad at you for trying to get better. That will tell you a lot about a coach. Yeah,
Wow.
and we've got feelings, we've got egos, just like
Right.
everyone
Right.
else. I understand it, but I don't see how someone neither doing it your way or no way
Mm-hmm.
is going to, especially when you're in control of a team. Easy for me to say that because I don't have a team.
Yeah, right. I get that.
you know, I can say
Right.
it's my way or no way.
Right.
But when you're talking about penalizing an athlete,
For working.
we don't see you all the time. We don't know where you are. We don't know what you're doing. And that's BS, because the kids who are usually coming to us are good kids. They're dedicated kids. They're engaged kids. And, when a coach tries to use that kind of, Jedi mind trick on you. I think
Right.
that's complete BS because they know the workers. They know the kids who are
Right.
workers. And they know those kids aren't sitting at home playing PlayStation and Xbox and all the rest of that. And so to penalize a kid, especially a kid who's been showing promise, been producing, those sorts of things, just because they're not underfoot all the time, I think is wrong.
Right.
Now, I do understand that coaches like to have those athletes in the mix because those are the kids who are the leaders. A lot of times, those are kids who
Mhm.
bring something other than just their work to to the positivity of the team. So
Right.
yeah, you want those athletes engaged. But if there is an area of expertise that you're not as versed in as someone who's an expert, why don't you let them work with the expert? You know, and I just, it's frustrating because like you see kids who are actually being hamstringed by some of these programs just because they need enough bodies out there to justify an off-season program so that an assistant coach can get paid or so that a head coach can get paid on the off season. And yeah, I said it, but that's the reality of this. And I think it's not fair to any of the kids, you know, because you have these kids who, in the end, have a dream, they have a goal, and everyone should be working towards that.
Yeah. To help them, yes, 100%, Aaron. You need to be working towards that goal to help them. That's why we're in the industry that we're in, is to help them. And people seek out our abilities, our knowledge, which is invaluable. I'm sorry, people, I said it. It's invaluable. It's experience, man. People don't have what we have, Aaron. And it goes a long way. And, people need to have that understanding. That's an advantage to have our knowledge. So, it's hard for me a lot because there are things that we need to have an athlete do to progress. Now it's a plan, man. It's every 8 weeks or 12 weeks, you and I are talking about these athletes together, trying to get them where they need to be. And when they're hamstrung, we can't see them. It slows down that progress, their progression to excel faster. And then we're trying to always play catch up. And playing catch up is not good for a lot of these guys that are seeing us, because they're already at a certain level, and their level of competition or their peers are here, and we're trying to make sure to get past their peers or keep up with their peers. And when we get, kind of pushed off to the side, we can't get those guys there. And I think that's the big reason why it's frustrating, is that, we know that their peers are moving this fast and we need to keep them up or past their peers. That's why I get frustrated by it, Aaron, is that, we're trying to help that athletes get where they need to be.
Well, to also be even-handed here, and athletes and parents need to understand these gentlemen are trying to field teams. They're trying to field successful teams. They're trying to field teams where they have the kids have some camaraderie and they have a good high school experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you have to also keep that in mind and you have to respect that. And I don't think you should be disrespecting a coach and saying, well, hey, you guys aren't this, you guys aren't that, so that's why I'm going over here. No, I don't think you need to do
Yeah.
that. you
Yeah.
know there's this respectful way of saying, hey, maybe this is an individual that I've been working with, I've been having some good games, we like their philosophy in hitting or pitching or training. How can we make this work?
Right. Right.
And maybe there's some room for negotiation, where the coach says, hey, you know what, I understand that. How about, instead of being here 5 days a week, we see you 3 days a week?
Yeah.
Again, you do have some sort of want to show some commitment to the team, and that you're part of that team. You want to be a part of that team's total experience, as well as not just, on game day, but you've also
Yeah.
to understand, you have to look at it through a coach's lens as well. And I think you should respect the coach and do that and figure out, hey, what's the way we do this? And after you have that conversation, you'll find out where you stand with the coach. You really will. That'll tell you all that you need to know of how that coach feels about you and about the program. And then you may have to make some hard decisions. And so you can't be afraid that, hey, I may have to do an either or, and you've got to live with the consequences.
Yeah.
The other thing I always say is when you're evaluating any program, whether it's on our side or on the high school side, sum it up in one word. For my time, what is going to be my productivity?
Right.
Okay. So if I'm spending 3 hours here at the high school program and 3 hours here with the private side of my training, what's more productive?
Right.
That's the question you have to ask yourself. And that should tell you where you need to skew your energy and your time and your focus.
Wow. that's just the truth right there. I agree with you, Aaron. I think that productivity and time management is crucial for a athlete, especially a high school athlete, because they have homework and they have other things going on in their lives, that is really important. So I agree with you 100% there. And, again, Aaron, we're not blasting coaches. We're just trying to find a way to work together and to help the athlete, and then I think the athletes and parents need to understand, there's a way to go about talking to your high school coach too, and not coming across as, like, hey, it's my way, whatever, but trying to work an agreement out to help both parties basically to get the player where they need to be. Simple as that.
Yeah. Enough said on my end.
Yep. And I've said enough on my end too, Aaron. Um, Aaron, what's cooking, man? We got the fall. We're kicking off the fall, man. We got a lot of programs out there. I know you and we've got our hitting class, our fielding classes. We've got podcasts. We've got a lot of stuff going on. You've got the pitching program coming up to get the pitchers ready. You got speed, and agility classes. You got a lot going on, man, this fall. So I want people to hit us up, man. Just we're out there. So, just to make sure they're aware of all that stuff. Did I miss anything, Aaron, out there? We're just trying to get knowledge out there.
All of our classes are listed on gamespeed.net. If you follow our Facebook pages as well, you'll see them there at GameSpeed or at Hardball Athletics or at EJ Sports. So, yeah, peruse through.
Yes.
If there's something you like, see if it fits along with your high school schedule. If you're middle school, then it's not a problem.
You're all right. You're all
Love
right,
you guys. And again, keep your eye on the North Star. Everything that you do should take you one step closer to that. Anything else is a waste of your time. And time is a ticket.
It sure is. Right on. So again, this is Coach EJ. Thanks for listening to our podcast today. This is The Brand.
This is Coach Aaron, the Source. We'll see you.